Just on the lines of leasing municipal properties, is there any update on that billboard signage area which was located?
No, I'd have to go back and talk to the building department. My recollection was we would have given them an ultimatum to remove the billboard or sign a lease, and to this point I haven't seen anything back. I will check on it.
Well, don't we own the billboard?
We own the
That's
land.
on our
We own the
land.
land.
We're on the land.
It's a leasehold improvement, lease is up, right, Mr. Attorney? It's ours.
Take your sign down and leave the billboard itself, and we own it.
And then capital budget,
Give me 1 second just to write that down.
sure.
Capital, similar to past years, I would envision that the majority of our capital requests will be deferred until October town meeting. We do carry an article in here because typically the water department puts forth its capital program to be funded by proceeds from the enterprise fund at the April town meeting. But the majority of our expenditures capital expenditures do get addressed in the fall when we have a bit more time to dedicate to that
Yeah, but the
process.
school has given us notice of the need to cover the lease that we had, as you recall, decided not to fund in October. This was the lease for technology. As you recall, we did not fund that in October, and we said we would fund it because the bill wasn't due until May. So maybe that needs to be added to the special town meeting warrant.
I was just trying to think, I knew there was something that we held over from October, and I was trying
Yeah,
to
that
figure
was
out
it,
what that was what it
yeah.
was. But did we actually hold it over, or we said we were gonna hold it anyway? Or did we-
No, I think it was not, at least according to the superintendent, as I recall, we didn't fund it, we were gonna wait. But it should be on the special town meeting warrant, because it's a 2009 bill that's gotta be paid.
Last on the list is the appropriation of monies to the stabilization.
We're in full support of that.
I can imagine. I'm in support of it also. I think it'd be a great idea.
In terms of numbering these articles, Greg, we're gonna do the money items at the end, right? And I was thinking, and I don't know whether we can do this or not, but in the meeting notice that gets sent out, the printing of the warrant, right? We print an omnibus article, and we ran into this last year, and then we had to reprint the entire omnibus article to reflect decisions that needed to be made when we postponed the meeting for 3 or 4 weeks. Is there a way of putting just a summary in the warrant and then do a detailed handout just to save some money?
I would think that that would be helpful in avoiding confusion. People have 2 different sets of numbers.
Right. So you just put a summary of all the budget amounts as a notice, and then as a handout at the meeting have the detail. I don't know whether that fits within the 4 corners of our charter or not, but
make a note of it and I'll report back to the board at the next meeting on what obligations we have under the charter to do what you've just suggested.
And, you know, in terms of the mailing, right, does the bylaws say that we have to mail out the entire warrant, or can we send a notice of the meeting and, which includes, that the warrant is available as a PDF on the website?
My recollection was the text of the warrant needs to appear.
And mailed out to all of our things, okay.
Yeah, there's a provision in the charter that says it has to be mailed to each resident.
And that's what it would be. Any other discussion regarding the warrant articles? We will number them at a future date as we get nitty-gritty in detail. Next item on our agenda is the town administrator's report.
Yes, board members, they didn't have an opportunity, just being back today, first day, to put a written report in, so it's quite brief. And the first place I'd like to start is notice from the Massachusetts School Building Authority relative to reimbursement on the Bachelor of the School project. I believe you received a copy of the letter. It was received on January 21, and it makes reference to the reimbursement for the Bachelor of the School project. You see that the letter that we have indicates that the reimbursement rate is 50.11%, and the total eligible cost by MSBA would determined to be $8,291,947. Ignore references to the Blue Hill Regional Technical School. That is not the proper project. Just to close the loop, is the amount that the town has actually received is $5 million. So the difference between the total grant and the $5 million is the amount that remains to be paid to the town by MSBA. And indicates that the payment will be made upon such time as the project funding agreement has been executed. We will obviously give that high priority when it has been received. We have not received that document as of this date.
And if I may comment, somehow came to my attention that we hadn't received the $2 million from the paper check in that second round. That money never came into the town. So I had contacted Brad Jones's office, and somebody got back to me regarding that, referencing the letter. It was Cynthia Oldfield, and she contacted MSBA, and basically, I'll read it to you. I just received a call from MSBA. If you look at the bottom of the letter that was sent to the town on 1/15, which I've attached for your further reference, you will see the sentence, before the MSBA can make a final payment, the town and the MSBA must execute a project funding agreement. The MSBA will soon be contacting the town regarding the PFA. Now, you know, they came to town, gave us a $2 million phony check, and then they said we'll be working on the final payment, which ends up being what was the number, Greg?
The actual final check amount we would receive would be $3,291,947.
So the balance was the $1,291,000, which was the amount after they did the assessment and subtracted out things that didn't qualify in the building. So we're sitting here thinking we had the $2 million, and now they're saying, well, we're not going to send you any of it until this last little detail is filled out. And I don't know exactly what's in that document, but we're going to be expediting it now at this point, so before the state runs out of all kinds of money. I don't know if you've read, California doesn't have enough money, so they're delaying income tax refunds for 30 days.
Really?
Yeah. So,
30 becomes 60, becomes 90.
Yeah, I just worry if we don't have it in the bank, then, you know, under the current economic situations, we could be waiting a long time for it. Anything else, Craig?
Yes, just to update you, we received notice from the Massachusetts Campaign for Open Government. They periodically look at municipal websites. They make different awards, as North Reading has received in the past, recognizing communities that have what they consider to be key governing records on their website. Just the information, it was distributed to the municipal departments, so they've been asked to go ahead and look at their websites and to update them to include things such as community agendas, minutes, zoning bylaws, community calendar. Also this year, they're looking for school committee meeting minutes and agendas, and minutes and agendas of other boards. So we've also asked the school department to make sure that all their information is up to date, because it's important that the town have a good website, something that's useful to its residents, and it's important for us to be recognized by the Campaign for Open Government as having one of the websites that meets their award for these items. So we are giving it a priority, and we'll expect that we'll hear some good news down the road on it. Last on my list, the board had asked a few weeks, I guess it's probably more than that, about the status of relocation of poles on Route 62. And this morning I was handed a letter, and it indicated that RMLD does in fact acknowledge that there are several poles on Route 62 that would need to be moved. These are poles that are within the sidewalk area. However, the letter does go on to state that RMLD has not yet estimated the cost of the work. However, they would ask that the town would have to pay for these pole relocations. So this is not something that would be done at no cost to the town. So I guess that's the key part that we've had here, and is that they're not in fact willing to go ahead and do that work at no cost to the town.
I think the key part here is that we've been harping on this for a number of years, between the State Highway Department, our own engineering department, and RMLD. There was an oversight here in relation to the location of these poles in the middle of a project that took 3 years to complete, and it should have been addressed. And it wasn't as though it wasn't addressed or highlighted repeatedly over time. And this is exactly what we were talking about, with the town getting saddled with a bill that should have been part of an entire project that went on forever, our own little mini big dig. So I still think there's some culpability here somewhere, rather than the town, and I think we need to pursue it a little bit further, just because they say they're not gonna pay. And again, and I don't know that RMLD is the responsible party. Maybe it's Mass Highway, and Mass Highway, again, has been just pushing this particular issue off for years. They just wanted to get out of this project. So, I don't know if it's the developer, the contractor that had the contract, or Mass Highway, but somebody's responsible. First of all, it doesn't meet the ADA standards. Those poles that are in the middle of the sidewalk, are impeding the way. So I wouldn't just take no for an answer.
If I may.
Get the chainsaw out and cut them down, and let the utilities fix the problem.
If I may, Mr.
Baby
Chair.
car just can't take them down when you hit them.
Yes,
I know that Mr. Norton, our RMLD rep, did speak to Mr. Cameron in person on this, because I spoke to him about it. And according to Mr. Cameron, they put the poles where the plans called for the poles. So he says they're not going to pay because,
Many of those poles were never moved. Those aren't new poles.
well, no, I'm saying poles that were moved, they put them where the plans call for the poles to be.
I think most of the poles that are in question are existing poles where they built a sidewalk around them.
And that would not be RMLD's
And
fault.
that's what I'm saying. This
Oh,
may not
well,
be
you
RML
did mention
this may not-
RMLD.
This
Yeah.
may not be
Yeah, right.
RMLD's
No, it would not be their fault if
issue,
they